exclusive tonight, 2 News has learned that several dozen Salt Lake City police officers are actively looking to leave the department over what they say is failed leadership.
Reporter Kyle Harvey spoke with 3 active Salt Lake City police officers about their frustrations. Kyle, this must have been nerve-wracking sitting down to talk to you about this.
Well, guys, we gave them total anonymity so they could speak candidly with us about Chief Mike Brown, Mayor Aaron Mendenhall, and what they say is a growing distrust between the people at the top and the officers on the street.
I don't. It's not worth it. I mean, it's ridiculous. There's no pros from it. That do good feeling, there is none for me.
These 3 officers say discouragement is at an all-time high.
I used to be the biggest proponent for it. Come to Salt Lake City, it's the best department. You know, we have all this and that, and I'm telling people to stay away from this profession altogether.
Frustrations began following the May 30th protests downtown. The officers say decisions were made to allow vandalism to go unchecked, including to the public safety building, where nearly every window within reach was broken or graffitied.
Giving up our police station is our home. Hearing that they're destroying windows, spray painting it, went against everything that I believe.
The 3 officers are members of the Salt Lake Police Association, which represents about 2/3 of the department. A preliminary vote in August found membership has no confidence in Chief Brown, whom they believe has stopped calling the shots, deferring instead to reform-minded Mayor Aaron Mendenhall.
Am I reading you correctly there,
Absolutely.
that the chief is essentially a puppet?
Yep. Yeah. The perception for us is that he does whatever she says. The troops don't think that he has their back, and so that's why we're seeing a large number of officers leaving.
Confidential sources tell us other law enforcement agencies have submitted 65 requests for background checks on Salt Lake officers they're looking to hire away.
I've never felt so much change so fast in just a single year.
To the outcomes of your reviews.
Mendenhall's changes include a new commission on racial equity in policing and a list of reforms proposed by executive order that layer new city rules on top of state law when it comes to use of force and searches.
You could be involved in something that is found justified, and you could still lose your job. So if I'm going to be reprimanded for doing the right thing in a job that's already dangerous, how can I go home and tell my family that I'm taking care of them?
I do solemnly affirm.
Mendenhall was chosen by the people, but these officers are concerned with who she's listening to.
When we have that smaller group of people that are more vocal and get that attention, it leads that perception that the majority hate us.
And I think whether you look at local polling or national polling, the majority of Americans and the majority of Utahns believe that some extent of reform is the right direction.
I asked Mendenhall about the officer's belief that she is the one calling the shots. She denies the notion that Chief Brown can't do what he wants.
I've been included in those strategic conversations before May 30th and ever since then, but ultimately it's the chief who deploys the tactics.
As for the officers we hear are leaving, upset with reforms, she invites them to speak up.
It's your right and your prerogative to come to us, come to Chief Brown, come to myself, talk about what your issues are, see if we can resolve those. And if they're not circumstances that you want to work in, then people can go.
To me, for the chief.
If the officers could say anything to or about Chief Brown without fear of reprisal, what would it be?
Yeah, he's done his time, but I think he's been out of the loop with the groundwork for a long time, that he's not willing to show a little more support towards the officers that are doing all the dirty work. You have a duty to us. You have a duty to our family.
And to Mendenhall?
If the mayor sees an incident on the news,
Officers ordered the dog to attack.
instead of immediately making a social media post saying how terrible it is, take 30 minutes. Call us. Be a little more unbiased when you're jumping to these conclusions. You're not helping the situation. It could be still just as effective to say, that looks bad. I will look into it to see the truth of the matter and come to a conclusion at the end with facts.
I guess I'd want to see where you feel like I've condemned any action. So I don't believe that any of the tweets that we've put out there are condemning in nature. To recognize a tragedy is human.
We reached out repeatedly over the last several days looking for an interview with Chief Brown about what these officers told us. He has not declined our request for an interview, but he has not yet made a time slot for us. Live downtown tonight, Kyle Harvey, 2 News.